Hello, Crosspoint's leader. I want to welcome you to a first in a series of videos on some leadership training. Every few weeks, I'm going to be releasing a new video, and I'm going to be tackling a short subject in the arena of leadership. This week, I'm going to be talking about, just beginning a series on what does it mean to be a leader. And as we look at this, we're going to look at 5 or 6 different traits of what does it mean to be a leader. We're going to use the life of David, King David from Israel from many, many years ago. And we're going to look at some of those stories in his life of what it means to be a leader. Today, I want to talk about 2 big traits, 2 big things that we need to understand when we look at what does it mean to be a leader. The first thing is we look at David and we think about his life, and not just a specific story, but the entirety of his life. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I don't want you to be overwhelmed by the fact that I'm not a David, I'm not a king, I'm not a massive ruler, I'm not someone who's in high position, but that's okay, right? That's okay. Don't be overwhelmed, but know this, is that as we look at the life of David, we know that there are principles that we can learn and take from and apply to our lives, no matter where it is or how it is that we're leading in our world. So don't be overwhelmed. That's the first big idea. The second big idea that I want you to remember is that you are a leader. And not just you, but everyone is called to lead. If we look at the story of David and Goliath in 1 Samuel 17, we find that David, of course, shows up to the battlefield and he meets his brothers and hears about this giant who's calling out the Israelites and looking for a champion to battle for the Israelite people. And David, of course, steps forward and he uses his slingshot and he fells the giant Goliath. But you know, that's just the bulk, the meat of the story. Let's back up just a little bit and see, how does David actually arrive at the battlefield? And if you read that story in 1 Samuel 17, you'll see that David arrives at the battlefield because his father Jesse sends him there. He sends him there to deliver some supplies, some food to his brothers and get some news on what's happening. But I want you to think about the role of Jesse in that story. It's just a bit part, it's a small thing, and you can easily read over it, but without a Jesse, there is no David and Goliath. Without a Jesse, a father who sends David into the battlefield to find out some news and deliver some supplies, the giant Goliath isn't defeated. What is your role when it comes to leading? You know, we can get caught up in thinking leadership is all about being kings or a pastor or a president or a senator or even something greater than that. But you know, leadership can be as small as leading your family, leading a niece, a nephew, a child, a husband, a wife. Leading is wherever you're at, and you're called to lead. It might be your family, it might be someplace in your job, it might be that you're in a management position, or maybe you're not in a management position at all, but it doesn't mean you can't lead. Doesn't mean there might not be people around you that are hungry for leadership. You know, Jesse had a bit role, but it was a massive part of the story. Without Jesse, the father of 8 boys leading that family, there is no David. There is no David and Goliath. What is it that you're called to lead? Who are you called to lead in your life? Well, you're watching this video because one of the people that you're called to lead, or one of the groups of people that you're called to lead, is people here at Crosspoint Church. It might be in a small group, in a connect group. It might be in some place in kids ministry or in the worship team, or maybe in the frontline ministry. Wherever it is, know this, is that you are called to be a leader. So will you lead? Will you please lead? Will you answer that call that God has on your life, on my life, on all of our lives? And as you do that, will you continue to grow? Continue to grow in that role of being a leader. Well, I want to thank you for being here, being a part, watching this first video. We're going to be looking at some more traits in the life of David of what it means to be a leader in the coming weeks. So continue to join me. Thanks so much for being a part, and I'll see you next time.